ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Hello, ladies, gents, and foolish adventurers delving into the dungeon. We're going to start a playthrough of Darkest Dungeon. It is a side-scrolling RPG, between quotes, in which you manage not just the wealth and the might and the health of your heroes, but also their sanity. This is a game that is better shown instead of explained, so let's simply start the new game. This is the campaign that I have been playing. This is the extent of my experience. I have played 35 weeks in it, so let's create a brand new one with every single DLC enabled, which is not that much. This is the two big ones, and then there's two more classes, and I think this is some new districts that you can build into your hamlet, but they're extremely costly, so they're very, very late game. So that seems perfectly reasonable. Is this your first estate? It is not. The Crimson Court increases the complexity and pressure of the campaign. It is recommended for experienced players. I'm not an experienced player, but I will play this game in the absolute hardest difficulty, Blood Moon campaign. They are not for the faint of heart. Expect no quarter, no forgiveness. You must conquer the evil within a time and hero death limit. This is something that I wanted to do because if you don't enable the time limit, the hero limit as well, but the time limit is the important thing, where if you don't enable that, you can grind unlimitedly. There is no time limit. You can always grind your way back into success, and I want to have the highest stakes possible. So let's rename this to the Pit of Despair. Pit of Despair Estate. That does not sound. The Despairing Estate. There you are. Let's go in. And also enabling the hardest difficulty also puts a few more options and difficulty things into the game. I can go through the options and show you later, but for now, let's watch that intro cinematic.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
I like to imagine the time that I chose to board this stagecoach and seeing the driver, the conductor of the stagecoach, and saying, yeah, that sounds perfectly reliable and safe. Let's jump into it. There will be no horrendous accident that leaves me stranded in the middle of the road. Let's go in. We start with Reynold and Dismas. These are not the people. Their names? Their names are Reynold. Actually, I want to name Dismas the highwayman. It's kind of like a damage dealer. He's going to be myself. He's going to be your old buddy Blargh. Dismas. I've not even rolled any names. So he is for now going to be unwashed. We're going to go names. I'm going to create a list that are going to be randomized. I will put every name that ever was a Patreon, but also all the people in the comments that tell me to do so. It is something that we're all going to enjoy ourselves playing through the darkest dungeon, and everybody shall be involved. This is the map of the dungeon. The layout is randomized. You go from room to room. We are right now in the forest. There's only one way to go, and that is forward. So let's click on going forward.
Run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
Seems like the volume inside the game is a little lower. Let me know if the balance, I will be checking it, but let me know if the balance is off kilter. Right away you can see, I'm going to explain, by the way, I'm going to explain the game like you are completely new to the game. I'm not going to assume like you know exactly what I'm doing, so if you are familiar with Darkest Dungeon, this is going to be a very slow start, but don't worry, we will get up to speed pretty damn quickly. That stress damage, what just happened, just walking through the dark forest, immediately creates some stress damage on unwashed, goes up to 100, and then he goes nuts. Or he might have a turn of virtue and actually pull through, but most of the time they're going to go nuts at 100. When stress reaches 200, they just die from a heart attack, so it's a pretty damn important thing to manage. Let's carry on forward.
Thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
Indeed, I shall dispatch this disgusting thug. Each of your characters gets 4 abilities available out of a list of 7 that you can enable and level up. You pick and choose in between battles what abilities you want to use, you want to have available. For now, we're going to go for Open Vein, which is a direct damage attack plus damage over time in the form of a bleed. But he resisted the bleed, so all that happened was we took half of its health, and then Unwashed gets to go. There's Smite, direct damage attack. There's Zealous Accusation. This does a very important Darkest Dungeon. You see these dots right here that they show. That is the position from which you can use it, the yellow ones. The red ones and the position from that will be affected. The 2 front positions can use this attack while Unwashed is in those positions. This is much better explained when I actually have 4 people in the party and not just 2. So for the time being, let's simply stun this idiot and make him skip his next turn. Unfortunately, he dodged this stun attack, so he gets the opportunity to do a freaking critical attack on my face. Critical attacks are always super infuriating because they do stress damage as well as regular damage, so it's always really upsetting. You murder your enemies, you get some loot as a result, and we carry on forward. There is no chance to heal while traveling other than by eating food, which probably should do at this time. We carry on walking, and there is a horrendous ghost in your way. Would you touch this? Or would you leave this alone? I'm pretty sure that this is something that is terribly bad for you to interact with. I already know that it's actually horrendous. This is the thing, in the hardest difficulty, this is awful. In the easier difficulty, this is a nice boon that I think is just treasure. But in the hardest difficulty, if you touch this, you get an affliction. You get this stress goes all the way up to 100 each for either one of them. I don't want to do that. We are already in a really hard time, and I'm not going to touch that, so I'm just going to ignore the horrendous, ominous thing. And this is a very, very valuable lesson, and that is, sometimes you don't want to touch the abominable monster that you come across. You can just walk right past. There is no need to interact with things you don't want to interact with, and sometimes it's really important. Unfortunately, I've been surprised by these disgusting thugs, so they shuffle my position. The nice part about only having 2 people is that every ability works from the 2 front positions, so I don't need to reposition myself. It's pretty silly. So let's open vein and see if we can get some bleed damage on this scumbag. He resisted the bleed, but he did not resist the debuff that comes along with it. Here comes the AoE attack. It also makes me less capable of dodging. Pretty damn annoying. Absolutely going to try and get those stunning blows into this guy. Unfortunately, this guy has a 50% chance of stunning versus a 100% chance of creating a stun, so we have a 50-50. Actually, it's less than a 50-50 because first you have to hit, then you have to pass the roll of whether you stun or not. So we have a maybe 40% chance. The accuracy is 90. If you read the tooltip here, the accuracy is 90, so you have a 90% chance of hitting because this guy's dodge and speed, dodge is 0. So it's right here. You can see it right there. Here to hit 90%, then the stun roll will be 50%. I know that I'm over-explaining things. I'm pretty sure you get it, but all right, just be very thorough in our explanations. Thankfully, the stun worked, and you can already see. You see how this is extremely infuriating, right? You cannot get to the guy that's shooting you in the back. Well, he has this meat flesh wall in front of you, preventing you from reaching him. If I were to step back, I could use my pistol shot to shoot at this scumbag. But nah, let's just simply continue bleeding this guy to death. It should be a pretty short murder of this piece of garbage. After being stunned, an enemy will receive a buff, so it prevents them, or rather makes it really, really unlikely that they will be stunned again. So you don't want to use the stun anymore because he has a pretty much 100% chance to resist it. So let's simply create some more damage on this guy. We are very slowly approaching the bottom of his health pool, and this is not looking great for our team of rugged adventurers, but hopefully they can make it through. There is every possibility that you just lose in the very beginning of the game because you can probably already tell there is a high RNG component to this game, and a lot of your know-how is how to manage that RNG so you don't get totally boned by it. Of course, sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. One of the difficulty things that happen playing the hardest difficulty level is that enemies will leave a corpse, and that means that they are still an obstacle to kill people. So let's just move back so we can shoot past the corpse. Unfortunately, all this damage is really pissing me off. So right, we're going to just smite the corpse. Now let's create the bulwark. There's nothing else to do. Like, I'm not going to attack a corpse. It's a complete waste of time. So instead, we're going to use our one defensive ability, use this bulwark of faith. It will give myself 20% protection, which is 20% damage reduction, and it marks him so that it makes him more likely to be attacked. And torch plus 24% is a very, very important mechanic of this game. The torch level while you're exploring, the brighter it is, the more chances you have of surprising your enemies and having a safe time. The dimmer it is, the more critical hits you'll receive. You can also be surprised. You can what was the other thing? Monster Chris, and more stress, of course. That's the big thing. You will suffer a lot more stress damage. But you also get more loot if it's dark. So it's a trade-off. It's not just an outright, let's make it harder. It's more like, do you want more loot? Can you afford it? So there's a lot of choices like that in Darkest Dungeon. Let's use our pistol shot to shoot this piece of garbage, this Brigand Fusilier, and hopefully murder him in a couple hits. The health pool of this guy is much, much lower, so it does pay to attack him. There's nothing I can do here, so let's just use a random ability just to get some time gone, so we can hopefully shoot this man and kill him. Unfortunately, he was able to dodge because his dodge is not 0. So the hero to hit. Actually, there's a couple rolls. Let's go to destroy that. See if we can see the tooltip on this one. Come on, man. That's right, there's a dodge. Oh, that's right, he's on the first position. So see, I cannot attack the guy that's in the first position. I have to use the open vein. So let's see. Hero to hit 88% thanks to this guy having a 7 dodge. What is it? Is that a double roll? I think it's a double roll. You first roll to hit, and then he can roll to dodge. So you can miss, and then he can dodge. So there's 2 rolls going on in there. I'm not entirely sure about that. I have not looked at the nitty-gritty of the mechanics. But hey, we are victorious, and we get a whole bunch of treasure, some money. This is just money in several different incarnations, and then portrait, which is heirlooms, which come in play later as resources to upgrade your state. All right, we were victorious, but there's a freaking chest over there, so we're going to continue adventure, and we have to open this chest. There's no way I'm going to leave this chest. Bandit's trapped chest. Something doesn't look quite right with this one. If I open it, I will suffer the damage from it. Let's eat some food, and hopefully we can withstand, because I want to open it, and there might be treasure inside. Yeah, I know it's trapped. There's nothing. Okay. There was a possible chance. I think you need to use one of your items if you have it to stop that from happening, but I'm not actually sure. But we win. We get some money out of that. The loot that we grabbed, excellent stuff. We get a little bit of experience. They level up. They don't get any kind of weird quirks. Another thing in this game is your heroes get quirks. They develop their own personality with their own neuroses and their own strengths. So here we are in the management screen. Whenever a new week rolls around, which is right after doing an expedition,
and you are bound to them.
Always feels wrong to talk about this man. The incredible voice acting of Darkest Dungeon, with the most iconic voice you could possibly imagine. Anyway, whenever you rolled up back into the estate, you get a little bit of a summary of whatever happened. We leveled up. We came back from escorting myself to the Hamlet. I mean, I know that I myself am the manager. Like, you play as the manager of the estate. But Blargh is going to be my avatar. Alright, so we are here in the state. It's in a terrible state of disrepair. There's nothing really you can do in the first few missions. You can just simply need to get through the quote tutorial of the game. You can check out the Nomad Wagon where you can maybe buy some trinkets. In my experience, buying trinkets is never worth it. Probably later on when they become much better, it becomes a much more important thing to do, but I've never bought a trinket, never regretted that decision. Here you can upgrade the wagon, the Nomad Wagon, to maybe get more trinkets, but make the trinkets cheaper. This is DLC stuff. We're not going to look at that for the time being. So there's the Nomad Wagon. Here's the Ancestors Memoirs, which is just looking at cinematics. Nothing important there. The graveyard, where we will probably see our roster of dead people. We cannot lose more than 16 people. If we lose 16 people, the game is over. So, pretty important to keep in mind. Keep your people alive is super duper important. And everything else is broken right now. So let's go to the stagecoach, in which you can recruit new heroes.
Men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
Fools, mostly just fools. Here are Emery, a plague doctor. She has fear of beasts and a lazy eye. -5 accuracy, that's awful. But she's also a lurker. That's plus 10% damage, is torch below 26, which I don't anticipate to do much. This is going to be a full light run as far as I can do it. The skills are alright. I have some pretty good knowledge of the Plague Doctor skills. I'm not going to go into them right now, but we better go into them in battle. And then you got the Vestal Thiruld, the Seeker Vestal. She's diurnal. She has -2 speed if torch below 26. And Egomania, she's obsessed with self-worship, but she's also irrepressible. Plus 5% virtue chance. That is, when you reach to 100 stress, somebody gets stressed to 100, they get a check. If the check is successful, they get virtue, and they actually get a buff when they get too stressed. It's like they pull through and commit an act of heroism. Most of the time, they're going to get an affliction, which makes them like selfish or self-absorbed or fearful or paranoid or all kinds of bad things that wrest control out of your hand, and it's generally annoying as hell. She's also a manslayer. So we don't have a choice but to hire these people. Not very good quirks, especially for Emory, but here comes the role of Emory. I will change their names in between episodes. We have now a sweet team. Here's the stagecoach that you can upgrade, which you definitely want to upgrade at the very beginning so you get more heroes. Increases the number of recruits available for hire. The change will take effect after you return from your next quest. Definitely want to do this. We want more heroes in this place. So let's spend, see, the 3 deeds and 4 crests. That's the amount that we have right now. So it's a massive resource management game. The entire of this layer of managing the stagecoach is deciding where to put your resources, and it is managing the crests and the deeds and all the heirlooms. You're managing the stress of these people. You're managing which skills to upgrade and who to give upgraded equipment and all that good stuff. Anyway, let's increase the stagecoach network so that way in the next...
Word is traveling. Ambition is stirring in distant cities. We can use this.
Let me turn up the volume of this man, because it's just too much of a good thing. Let's upgrade the master volume, and narration volume is already 100, so let's do that instead. Reduce these others. Oh, the cinematic volume was at 100, and that should be pretty good. That should be good. All right, yeah, save that stuff. Go back to the game. We can look at the options here. Gameplay. By playing in in the hardest difficulty, monsters leave corpses, combat delay penalties. Heroes get stressed, and enemies can call reinforcements if you take too long to kill them. That prevents you from recovering infinitely against a weak enemy. You know, using buffs and stuff and healing yourself. This prevents you from doing that. Mortality debuffs is like when you get to a death's door situation, you're almost dead, and you recover, you're going to get debuffed because of that, because it was a deeply stressful situation. Combat retreats can fail. I'm inclined to not have this because it's terrible, but you know, we're going to brave these horrendous circumstances. Anyway, this is all good. We will very much understand what those mean as we carry on. Anyway, we have a team of people right now. There's nothing I can do but embark on the next expedition. And we're going to do that, and even though it's been 22 minutes already.
Of madness and morbidity. Your work begins.
Indeed. This is the entirety of my state. This is the despairing state. This is the darkest dungeon. The goal of this game is to delve into the darkest dungeon and conquer it. But before you do that, you need to conquer the entirety of the state. There's the ruins, the warrens, the wheel, the cove, the courtyard, and the farmstead. These 2 are DLC content. Hopefully we won't touch the courtyard until we're ready. One way or another, all we have available right now is going into the ruins, where we will test ourselves in the mad realm of your fallen ancestor. Take note of how the creatures have taken over. But don't delve too far, because it's a short sortie into the place. We're going to have to explore all 90%. This is pretty much every room except one. And the rewards will be 3,000 gold, 4 crests, which are these right here, and 1 trinket, which seems to be complete garbage. But we can also sell them, so it's never a waste to get those. Most of your decisions will be when choosing. It's like, what do you want to do? There's going to be a choice between maybe 7-10 different missions at a time, so it all hinges on what do you want out of the missions, what kind of composition do you want to use for the missions, and that kind of stuff. We don't have a choice but to use these abilities. You're just stuck with what you come with, and this is pretty annoying because at least she's got the important ones, which are the heals. These others are pretty garbage. I like these 2 and these 2, but no choice right now. We're stuck with this for this mission. The Plague Doctor. This interface tells you where you should probably put your character. It tells you, oh, she will mostly function in the third position, but that's not going to happen. That'll probably happen, actually. We can do something like this. Because the highwayman, he can just shoot people from the third position just fine. He'll be just fine. Even open vein can work from the third position. The plague doctor, it's unfortunate he cannot use incision, which is the melee attack, from the fourth position, but he does have the plague grenade, and he can heal a little bit. So, and when there's nothing else to do, he can just buff people. So it's all good. And of course, Unwashed will carry on in the first position, where he will be worth his weight in blood. Let's go into the provision, where you
the
pick
cost of
the
preparedness,
things.
measured now in gold, later in blood.
Very dramatic indeed. You need some provision to go into the mission. You need some food to be able to survive the hunger, and also to camp. But most of the time, you're not going to need, like always, you're not ever going to need to camp in a short expedition. So 8 food should be okay. Probably should carry 12 just in case. There's random hunger checks that can happen. I'm pretty sure only 2 can happen in a short one. Just in case, let's carry 12, and that should get me covered. And then there's all the other things. All I'm going to do is just buy 1 key and 2 shovels. Shovels are very, very important. You never want to go in without a shovel. I think 8 torches shall be perfectly fine. This is all that it just takes experience to know what you need going into places. For the time being, we should probably carry 2. Nah, just 1. 1 is good. Let's embark. Many of those items are terribly useful, depending on where you go. Certain regions, the ruins will require some items that the Weald will not require them, but we're pretty much covered with this stuff. Let's carry on. This is the randomized layout of the dungeon. Let's move on forward to see what we can encounter, and hopefully nothing horrendously lethal shall be encountered. Right away we encountered a torch. Fantastic. Yes, I will partake of this torch. Thank you very much. Let's carry on forward, side scrolling our way to the first room of the dungeon. We found 2 pathetic bone rabble. They shall be destroyed. There is nobody in the back position, so this plague grenade, which is an excellent ability, cannot be used against these guys. So all I'm going to do is just buff one of my fellas. I think my highest damage dealer against these guys are Unholy. Pretty sure she does more damage to Unholy. Yeah, plus 15% damage versus Unholy. So we're going to use her to deal a bunch of damage. I mean, it really doesn't matter. Oh, he also does more damage against Unholy. So let's buff our friend Unwashed. He'll get plus 20% more damage and 3 speed. The speed. Oh man, Unwashed is a kleptomaniac. Let's remember not to have him grab stuff, but sometimes they'll just, very, very surreptitiously, they will use their 5-finger discount and steal our stuff. So hopefully we will not run into that, but probably we will. He's also a Warrior of Light, plus 10% damage if torch above 75, which is not. Right now it's, I think, at 60-something. He's also God-fearing, which means he will only pray to relieve stress. We definitely want to get rid of that. All right. It is Therolda's turn. She can Mace Bash, or she can use the Hand of Light. Let's use the Hand of Light to one of these 2 fellas. There you go. Then we'll just open vein is good against enemies that can bleed. These are skeletons, though. They have 200% bleed resistance. So instead of that, we're just going to use the pistol shot against this scumbag. I'm going to die. Indeed, a lethal shot.
Give them no quarter.
No quarter at all. And since he only gets 1 move, let's see what kind of damage. 9 to 17 if this hits. So this has an extremely high chance of murdering this thing.
Gone, fiend.
So he dies. Fantastic. He's a kleptomaniac. Alright, he didn't check the chest, so let's open it with Emory. It's an unlocked strong box. Just open that up. We got a shovel, citrine, and some busts. These are heirlooms for our upgrades later on. Well, we carry on through this horrendous dungeon, and hopefully no terrible, terrible creature shall come in our path.
Even the cold stone seems bent on preventing passage.
Very nice to have a shovel. If you don't have a shovel in this situation, you get damaged and you get stressed. It's super annoying. So You always want to have enough shovels. Let's use the torches, make sure that we keep it pretty bright. Good thing that I did that before we encountered these people, because they could have surprised us. And now this guy has plus 10% damage because it's diurnal. The way fights work in Darkest Dungeon, there will be 2 very high priority targets at the back. This is the standard thing. Sometimes it's not true, but most of the time, 2 very high priority targets on the back, 2 kind of garbage people at the front. You want to prioritize destroying these people as soon as possible, so you're most of the time going to be focusing damage on whoever's in the back.
And
Sweet critical hit by myself. Blargh is fantastic. And now if we land this plague grenade, if this hits, the blight, the damage over time that this plague grenade does, will dispatch this piece of garbage before it has a chance to attack. This thing is as good as dead because it has 4 damage per second, but 4 damage per round happening to her, so she's as much as dead right now. So we can focus on some other people. We can either heal our guys, we can use the Hand of Light, you can mace bash. We're just going to use the Hand of Light on this piece of garbage. She has missed. I forgive you, Thirolda.
Slowly,
You are
gently.
not built out
This is how
for
life
fighting,
is taken.
after all. The problem with having her in position 2 is that she cannot heal, so it's kind of a bad idea. Probably it's a thing. I probably want to switch them back. Let's stun one of these scumbags. There you go. That way we'll prevent them from dealing horrendous damage to me. And now we are in the stage where you want to kind of delay the game. You want to delay this as much as possible, and you want to take the time. He cannot do anything, so he's just going to do some medicine. We don't really need more damage right now, so he's just going to use his tiny heal ability to make her feel better. She can use the Divine Comfort in position 3, but that's kind of trash. So let's just move her back. There you go. We can use the Zealous Accusation to deal damage to both of them.
Continue the
There you
onslaught.
go. And now we have 2 turns before reinforcements arrive. You cannot keep this guy alive for longer than that without reinforcements arriving. So let's use this. Oh, I cannot use that. So I just use this Grape Shot Blast to shouldn't kill him, but it did kill him, so I don't get a chance to use the healing abilities. Thing is, if you're not in battle, you cannot use the healing abilities. That is the thing that you need to always keep in mind. You cannot heal unless you're in combat, which is it's weird. It doesn't make sense, but it's it's a game mechanic. We have received an item. It's a Blight Stone, plus 15% Blight skill chance, but -1 to speed. Most of the time, if something has a speed penalty, I'm not going to use it unless it's very, very good. Speed is a very important stat in the game. It's right down here. It determines who goes first. If your guys are fast and they go first, means they can kill a threat before they even take a turn, or at the very least stun them or disable them in some way. So it's pretty important. It's perhaps the most important stat in the game, to have enough speed in enough of your characters that enables you to act first and stop your enemies from creating critical damage. You scumbag piece of garbage, unwashed, has decided that he wants to keep this key and this vial of blood all by himself. I'll be keeping that to myself. Excellent. Not so very excellent when I put you on the frickin' rake. That's in the basement. Let me just get that extra illumination going into the room. Fight, let's see if we can... Oh, nice. We surprised the enemy, so we all go first, regardless of speed. So let's use this plague. No, that's not plague. Derp. Let's use this plague on this scumbag that gets to dodge, which is garbage. Of course, I cannot move. I cannot attack with anything. So that is the downside of having the Vestal in this position with these abilities. You don't want this. This is terrible. Let's see if these two... Actually, they're not going to be able to. This is pretty bad. Even a critical hit is not going to kill this lady, so she's totally going to go regardless of what I do. It's unfortunate. Nothing I can do about it. Maybe I can just use the bulwark here. Nah, we're just going to use a stun. Stun one of these 2 pathetic pieces of garbage. Let's just go for a stun on this guy. He does some bleed attacks. I don't want to be bleeding all over the place. Stressful incantation, but Emory dodges. Stressful incantation does stress damage. See, it says in the name of the ability. Stress damage is the more. I mean, obviously you don't want your guys to die, but stress damage is the long-term kind of thing that can really screw you over. So you really need to manage it. It is very unlikely that this plague is going to kill, but I kind of have to just in case I miss with my shot. By the way, he has hard noggin plus 15% stun resist and plus 2 to speed. That's an excellent thing to have. I'll try to lock that one in. It's a thing you can do to lock in the abilities. Alright, that happened, and now see if we can land that shot. Well, good thing that I put that damage over time over her, because it's going to be very, very important. We can heal, or we can heal? I think I will heal. I think I'll heal this time. There you go. She's more important than myself, I think.
The death by inches.
Indeed, the damage overturns. He's afflicted by a bleed and also gets plus stress. If he gets critted or any kind of stress damage, he will be more stressed out. Let's get another stun on these scumbags. Actually, we could just murder that guy. That was a misplay, because what's better than stunning your enemies? Just murdering them outright. So if you see a chance whether you can either stun them or kill them, obviously you should always go for the kill. Let's just kill this guy. That was a mistake. Hey, we did get a crit on this scumbag, and every time you get a critical hit, stress gets healed because people get really, really, really enthused about it. Let's see if we can get a stun on this guy and we can get some healing on Unwashed. Yeah. There you are. Oh, I know. Thorolda. Oh, I cannot change her name right now. In the middle of combat, I cannot get that far. Let's get a little bit of healing on Thorolda.
The wounds of
1
war
point
can be
of health restored. This guy's stunned, so it's just a matter of just pushing it all the way to death. But of course, you can also spend this time healing up. Don't want to chance it though. You got 2 turns. I'm not going to play any games. I'm just going to wreck this scumbag. Get my loot. And here is an chance to use our key. And thankfully, this scumbag, kleptomaniac a piece of trash, did not try to open my chest. I don't even know if he can, but if you use the key in this chest, it unlocks a hidden compartment. You can get some extra stuff.
Staunch the flow.
All right.
Carry on.
Corruption. No scouting sometimes. Well, we'll get there when we get there. It will show. It will be very, very obvious when it happens. That's another reason why I like to go in with full torch light, because you get the chance to scout, so you'll know whether a trap is coming. But unfortunately, I was unable to know that a trap is coming. So once more, we're going to use that torch, see if we can get a scout out. If it doesn't, in fact, I want to move this lady forward because it does more damage on the first round. And that first round, hey, there's the scout, fantastic. Now we know that there's going to be a trap there. We can disarm that. We know that there's going to be a battle down here, so we're going to go all the way down there. There's the trap, and we here have the chances of disarming this trap. Only myself is able to disarm it with any kind of reliability, so we're going to click there. Yes, indeed. Disarmed, so it's all good. Carry on forward. Let the torch go down because it... There you go. Plus loot, see? It gives you more loot if you go in there with a lower torchlight. Of course, it also creates more stressful situations, so it's always a trade-off. Let's go in, and hopefully I will not just explode. There is a fight, and this does not look like a terrible fight. Alright, let's... This guy is not that dangerous. I don't think I need to prioritize him, but we're going to, because that's just the normal way that you usually play this. Holy crap.
To a killing blow.
That's a lot of stress damage all across the board. See if we get a Hand of Light. Actually, I might just want to heal here. Too bad she doesn't have the stun. Nothing I can do about that. Let's just try to kill this scumbag. That crit is too much. I cannot handle it. Blight does indeed happen, so let's use that there. Oh, that was very, very awful. Let's try to stand one of these scumbags. This is a dangerous situation. We are half health with 2 of our guys. These guys don't do trivial damage, so you know it can go south. It is the first of the missions, and it can definitely murder you. So you know you always need to be on your toes. Please land this damage over time. Hopefully it will be enough. It's not enough. It's barely not enough. So that's unfortunate. He gets to shoot another quarrel at me. That crit chance on this piece of garbage it needs to stop. This guy needs to stop. It's awful. We need to kill this. Actually, he has 3 health left. The damage over round is 4 damage, so he's as good as dead. That's fantastic. Let's get a heal. Yeah, nice. Critical heal. Get some more stress taken care of. This is very upsetting. This is a bad amount of damage on our friend. Get another stunning blow on these pathetic wretches. Stun the guy in the back because we're going to try to kill the one in the front. That guy's as good as dead. I really want this lady to go backwards, but I cannot spare the turns right now. So let's try to kill this guy before he acts. That's what I'm trying to do here, and it's not going to work. So maybe if I had buffed him, it would have been much better. Let's get a tiny heal because there's nothing else he can do. There you go. Pretty should prioritize this guy. Oh, Hand of Light does work on this guy, so let's see if we can murder him. That was absolutely atrocious. That was such a bad roll. She's at death's door. She has been hurt to the point that her health pool has gone down all the way, and that means every time she gets hit from now on, there's a chance that she just dies. That's bad. It's pretty bad. Renault needs to do something. He needs to just murder somebody. Thankfully, but to recover from death's door, all you need to do is just heal 1 point of damage. She does get the debuff. -2 accuracy, -5% damage, -1 to speed. So it's not completely without a cost, but it's better than, you know, being at the verge of death. This is atrocious. This is awful. Let's get a shot on this guy. Actually, what kind of damage? 4 to 8. The shot 4 to 8. So it's exactly the same. What kind of accuracy? Here to hit 85%. This one does 95%, so no brainer. Here comes the stab. Very annoying, very awful. These guys do a damn decent amount of damage. And there's really nothing else I can do but just murder this guy. There you are. Another battle. Success? Only just barely. I have lots of food, so let's use it to heal up some of this health. Pretty sure by now, like, look at this dungeon. Like, there's only 2 more rooms. It's very unlikely I'll get 3 food checks. So we're going to use as much food as possible. There you go, leaving 8 just in case I get 2 food checks. You never know. It's very unlikely though, but you know, better safe than sorry because the cost is enormous. Anyway, let's check this. I don't remember whether this heals stress or it's just loot. So let's use her. Click on it, and we're going to use some holy water on it just in case it's corrupted. Divine benefit. She just gets healed. And a stress heal. Okay, so it was both. Fantastic. Very happy about that. Let's go back. We had to still explore. It might be worth checking out this curio, but I don't think it is. Let's just simply carry on forward to another encounter. And this room is empty, so there's a very good chance that we don't have any more battles to go through. We can hope. A man can hope. Don't be just son of a bitch! Stop grabbing my stuff! Oh man, this is a lot of money. You son of a piece of garbage. Unwashed, we need to take care of that kleptomania. There's the hunger check. Very nice that I left the food. And this will be an empty room, so we can just go in. So now we get the choice. Oh nice, we got the scout, so it's not that bad of a choice here. Let's continue exploring. Do we want to go into this room battle with treasure? Let me move her back. I want her to heal. Do we want to go into this room battle with treasure? Or do we want to go back to the state? I'm going to push on forward. Have maximum torch for minimal risk. and just shovel through this obstacle that we have plenty of shovels for. There you go. And another hunger check is, I would say, impossible at this time. So let's use the rest of our food to heal our friend. Oh, he's full. So let's just use it on him. And also, Emery can eat that. Nothing else is good. Let's go in. I hope for the best. Hopefully this will not be a horrible battle. It is a horrible battle. This can be pretty bad. This guy causes a lot of stress. This can be a very, very costly decision that I made. Let's just shoot this guy dead. Of course, he has a very high dodge chance, so that happened. He has a very high dodge chance, so that happened. Very irritating guy. Hopefully, this will not spell disaster for me. Let's continue on with the healing. I really need to heal these people. Let's just heal. Oh, nice, beautiful crit on unwashed. Well done. Stun these people for the time being. Let's stun this guy. Oh, I selected the wrong skill, so that was a mistake. Hopefully I will not pay dearly for that mistake. There's a bunch of damage on Blargh. So good though. This attempted goblin, more stress happening. This guy is going to take a check, isn't he? Yes, he is. This was a mistake. Now she is irrational. That's a lady in there.
Really?
Eureka! Bubonic plague, lavender together. Excellent choices. Oh boy. So now there's a good chance that I will not be able to control him, control her. I will, like, there's a number of bad things gonna happen in short. So Koro being shot. Hopefully we can survive this horrendous nightmare. Yeah,
Decimated.
Whew, killing blow. Thank goodness. Quickly staunch the bleeding and get me some leeches. This is another thing that the afflicted people do. They start yelling improprieties and everybody else gets stressed. It's very annoying. It's atrocious things. We want to heal, I think, unwashed. Everybody's in bad shape, but he is our bulwark against these scumbags. So that, and maybe this time not use the wrong attack. Although that being said, there's a very high chance this guy will just die. Let's get that hit. There you are. Like I said before, when there's a choice between stunning and killing somebody, the choice is pretty damn straightforward. And hopefully this will be a high roll, so the blight will take care of him. That is, I think, one off to take care of that. Thankfully, Emery was not irrational this turn, so we can get another plague on this guy, and he is indeed going to die through the 8 damage per turn. Get some more healing done, although it's no longer necessary, really. This fight is under control, so let's do a divine comfort, so we got 4 rolls of maybe getting a critical. Healing is the disease, I tell you. He refuses to be healed. The irrationality does for you. That guy dies to the whatchamacallit, to the blight. We're going to stun this scumbag. Make sure that this guy does not create a problem. Excuse me, where's the apothecary? I've run out of mold. Very reassuring words from Emery. Let's get some more healing. Actually, yeah, let's get the healing. Hopefully somebody will get crit. She gets a critical hit on that heal. Saves a little bit of stress. Divine comfort, there you are. The stress goes down a little bit, but the affliction does not go away unless you take it all the way to 0. Very unlikely for that to happen. Let's get some more damage on this pathetic piece of wretch. And we can just maybe get the hell out of here. Okay. Probably, yeah, pushes him back. That's another thing that you have to watch out for. Like, enemies will deposition you. They will shuffle you around in your ranks. Unfortunately, our friend the kleptomaniac over here grabbed one of the keys that were a piece of loot. So we can no longer use the key to open this. So we have a chance to get real stressed. If this is trapped, let's use Emery. She can open that up. It's trapped, unfortunately. So there's nothing I can do about that. But hey, we were victorious. Let's get the hell out of this horrendous dungeon. We were victorious, if only just barely. It was pretty damn annoying to deal with that last battle and get that affliction on Emery. But here, there you go. That is our primer. Our primer in Darkest Dungeon. We gather a little bit more experience, leveling up with our friends. And this is more quirks. Can be positive, can be negative. It's just a roll of the dice. -1 to speed. Well, he's already extremely slow, so I guess, might as well take it. And then Natural Eye for Thirolda. +5 accuracy in range skills. All her skills, all her attacks, unless the mace is ranged. But this is garbage because you don't want your Vestal to be attacking anyway. You want to always be healing and buffing. Most of the time, actually, to stun people,
Degeneracy of the
you will use her.
hamlet is
So,
nothing, I fear,
pretty damn important.
when compared to the condition of surrounding
I don't know what I'm
acres.
talking about. Poor bastard. Pretty sure this is the guy that's talking. Poor bastard, always with troubles. We were successful and completed the first foray into the ruins. We will continue on our adventure. Here's the log of everything that's happened. The tavern is now open as well as the abbey, but not the guild, which is very annoying. We cannot shuffle and adjust our abilities just yet. The tavern and the abbey have opened. They are both to manage stress. People go in there and pray, flagellate themselves, going through meditation, get drunk. Not in the abbey. In the tavern, they will get drunk, do some gambling, go do some whoring, some good old wholesome activities for
Fresh
the
kegs,
stressed out
cards,
adventure.
and curtained rooms promise solace to the weary and broken alike.
Indeed, my friend, indeed.
The cobwebs have been dusted, the pews set straight. The abbey calls to the faithful.
The caretaker will be randomly assigned to one of them, and he will block them. He's just always stressed out. He's always doing something to alleviate his stress. Anyway, we're going to leave it right here. Let me know how you like Darkest Dungeon. Post a comment with your preferred name. I will compile a big list. You go through a lot of people in this game, so there's going to be quite the opportunities to get your name into this list. It will be fully randomized between all the previous Patreons and all the comments, so everybody will get an equal shot to getting their name into this list. For now, though, Thirolda, her name needs to be. It absolutely must be. Lady Butthole. Hell yeah. I mean, she's pretty bad. She already got this locked in. This is what that means. Now it's far more expensive to get rid of this. Nothing I can do about that now. Anyway, hopefully you like this series. It's going to be in the channel for quite some time. Don't worry, it won't be so long-winded as we progress. This is just the first episode. I wanted to make it so that even people that have never seen this game can approach the game in a... Emery is not having a great time, or maybe she is having the greatest of time. Don't worry, we'll make her pray the gay away. Let's see if we can continue being victorious in the Darkest Dungeon. I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, don't succumb to madness.